everybody's so actually call and ask everybody's name, but I will not do that. Okay. All right, we shall start. Hi, everyone. I'm Eileen Grena. I am Delaware Law School. Thank you so much for having me here. I am elated to be here with my good friends, my new students, hopefully, that are going to come to Delaware Law School. Those of you inviting me, so thank you so much. I am, so my path is a little graduate hospital. So, University of Delaware, Delaware. Night, I the little bit, sick little day I was and not sleeping. And so I transitioned. I've stayed at the law school and stayed at the law school. I'm sorry, and stayed at the law school. So, and I've been at the law school for, don't do the math, 24 years. So I'm excited to be here and acknowledge that. And I will go slowly. I will definition. If you want to learn, this is the patient relationship. All right. We're going to talk today about physician liability. I want to know, and it is really AIDS, physician patient hospital, other in that deliver healthcare, right? So everybody in the hospital patient patients get closer. That's okay. We're going to go through what we're responsible for as patients, what the physician is responsible for. Back to the hospital, they're and that is a overall, the provider patient governed by the law, sounding contract law, fiduciary, all those have to contract, one of them, contract relation. And do you negligent? I talk about fiduciary principles, responsibility. Contract, whether they terminate. Association. Contract. So if I'm off back and forth, all these other around that, how they have to take the duty to accept a patient. I'm going to talk about this more, but does every patient walk in the door? Do. Have to. Okay. So I'm the physician. You're in the waiting room. I have no time. I have a big, my nurse. I have hospital that I have to see at 8 o'clock showing up. I have to sit there. Out. Okay. But if you just show up in the hospital, or it's not in the hospital, in the waiting room, have to take you. They have a duty to have to take you. But I leave at 5. Not immediately. Okay. But if you're just sitting there, I don't have to take you. Take less. Hospital. Not the hospital. Yep, we're going to get to the hospital, but just the physician. So that's the contract. Like, there's no contract. If I don't see you, there's no contract. Just because you're sitting in my office, not mean there's a contract. Right? When contract starts, unless it's an essence of the provider-patient, largely governed by law, fiduciary law, negligent laws, contract-based arises out of express contract. Hello, patient, nice to meet you. Offer giving rise to a court law. Touch, battery, Of the relationship continues on a contractual doctrine. Come to me. That is, the physician must agree to enter into a relationship with the patient or required to treat the patient. Does every physician have to accept every patient? Again, just because you're in my office, does not mean I have to accept you. Maybe you're not the type of patient that I want. No, I have to take. I say to my take you. Public, they have to. That in the United States, called emergency actively get to that job. I will treat. Okay, next. Physician cannot be forced to assume the obligation will if he not an emergency, not required to. The absence of statute. Physician is under no obligation to practice. Next one. Common law has been limited. Our federal government, the U.S. federal government, hospital and physicians, Medicare reimbursement emergency. Exactly what the hospital is. The hospital has an emergency and is there under Medicare federal money. They are obligated. They have to make patient to gained. Don't have to keep get them to have to make. That's okay. There was a big hospital in Jersey that closed, emergency, never heard of. Federal government said not taking under emergency, bringing them. Oh, they don't have insurance. They're shipped. And this was years ago. Dumping, dump the patient. Dump the patient. Tell the 911. Tell the right. Don't come here. They just closest hospital, fast as possible. Hospital, like, oh, do they have insurance? Never heard of that. Close a large hospital, violated lots of laws, and not divert patients, not pay. Actually, relationship may result from a rights and liabilities of the parties are, the first, governed by the general law of contracts. Offer itself, or the insurance company pays money, Medicare, Medicaid pays me. Somewhere, something. Oops, I'm sorry. Rights and liabilities. Right, I'm sorry. Governed by the general law of contracts. Yep, next. May be limitations or restrictions resulting depending on the practice area. How we're going different from, I would expect somebody who's an expert in the field. Get much more as we go. I'm a physician and I'm in the hospital watching you. You're just general surgery, just like general surgery for your arm. And I notice something and I watch him and look at this, look at this. Now you have it. I was just like, perhaps you, right, to as kept him touching you, right? Because otherwise, assault and battery. Yes, no, you can. If I say, Mateus, come see my son in the hall, don't. Dr. Grena, I'm sorry, I've got patients. Call you later. Not have an obligation to ask you to. So, Freeman has to be very, very specific and very aware. Because if he walks in the room, misdiagnosed, is also consent that in an physician or someone on his behalf knowingly seeking the physician. We're not conscious. Friend said, have to make that right. Not have the less go through the rules, unless you are minor, exactly. Or rights for some power of attorney. Physicians knowing of the physician has to know, getting in a lot of knowledge, right? I know I'm knowledge. It documentation. Everything needs to be documented. Oh. The patient's voluntary acceptance of the patient's prima facie on its face, like obvious prima facie. of a contractual transaction between. So talk to Dr. Mateus, on its face, it's going to come, be your doctor because he's coming in, he's assessing. That's what it. However, if the existence is not established, most in no professional obligation are part of the and physician cannot be liable for damages and malpractice. Just because I said come see me and he said no, being negligent for can't be like Dr. And see, I would have been better. Right to not contract. Well, contract fiduciary duty. That responsibility of the very, very high. Wise competence by undertaking act as a render medical and advice. Both. Trust and knowledge that trust that X, Y, a very, very WebMD. Look it all, right? You can look at this and know when you're going in. All of this, I know what I need. Still feel that he has more knowledge than the expert. As the patient health and changed, my mother's I account whatever the doctor says I'm going to, in my parents, right? My generation, I'm gonna ask, I'm going to go in, right? I am buying a professional package of, I think it grows, that knowledge, more conversation. Like you're going to ask your doctor more and more questions of the telemed. Confidentiality, all communication up here. Who owns your medical record? Doctor. Yeah, the doctor. Plus, if you want to get a copy of your medical record, you have to go walk out of the have to go downstairs, you have to sign out, they have to thing, right? But the doctor owns the medical record. Get a copy. Primary owner. Hospital, depending on working, it's private physician, the hospital. As a fiduciary, the physician is required to act in the patient's best interest. On the best, very favorite case about Mo and Levine. Mo Levine is trial. Not Mo Levine. At S trials. bone marrow last time. Back and which the patient, why, where's the result of the test? Why is it in the best interest of the physician, not the best interest? But then they can't find drug company got money out giving the not. It's not. But important said, but for child, best interest. Ask me, how do you know? Hope they testified. Is a lot of layers. Best in this could cause the patient, yeah, back to you by leading to lack of opposite is don't do that. Cost of the rather than that poor child. And has responded by denial of treatment, a breach of the fiduciary or abandonment. Close your eyes. Fire. Or one stage next. Hospitals, fire, abandoning your. Right. Another day to not moving. I have a that of what if every time just don't doctor and it for referring that physician doctors not be abandoned. Just can't. Okay. Issue that is against a physician, especially when, but they do it carefully, accordingly, not get sued. Is also breach negligence under tort. Are you negligent? Stop treating. primary breach. Let's say both. US law, negligent, right? Because I have a broke that opportunity elsewhere. Right. To formally with or other methods like mutual assent. Patient doesn't have to. I have not seen my pediatrician in a very long time. So, up. Over malpractice. I have to be worried about being. Over the course of time and involved into oh my God. All right. I want you to talk to me about patient here. You go to the hospital and to be have an informed gives that and or sometimes it's the nurse and then the follows up. Must follow up because condition. Not assault. Touching, battery. Not everything.
She's asking me to tell you. She said that she had a surprise.
Signed. Sometimes they list everything. Don't list everything. What do they?
That you can die. Yeah.
They list it. I want to sign that. Not our response. I life? What if it's not to save? What if I go in just to check my colon and they find things, go ahead and do it? Happens a lot. Like, I open you on this. I'm just going to go in and take care of it. Have my up, go back in, but there. Have to clean. Can, but what if I have no friends? Then you don't, right? Then you don't, really, then you don't. And so, seriously, I mean, not everybody, or some might ask your best friend and they're like, oh, clause there that says, if in the case of other opportunities, and I go, should be there. Everybody's consent form is different. Like one hospital does not, there's not a uniform consent. There's not. There's just, so one state, and they're not all exactly the same. All hospitals, there's a unit of what you should. Not every single act, not every hospital that fits person, not one. That's where what is exact for me. What is exact? I want to know, am I going to believe, right? I want to know how much pain I'm going to be. I'm going to know, may not want to know. Every time is if I risks and consequences. This is an option. Third one. Nothing at all. And that has risk and consequences. But a lot of times, great, let's get her in there. So you, and a lot of pain, ability to understand, not there, or I just feels right now. Period. Have to make sure, first of all, and then to understand risks. Around and go into next C-section and did her particular way of doing. Next doctor know that that's there because I do my. I did not consent. lawsuit claimed I have this way of my procedure. Therefore, I'm there to let everybody else know. Contrast relates to assault and battery. Talked about that, right? Touching civil and criminal violation. Is that a criminal violation? I would think. Simple to prove, insurance may not cover. What if I'm dying? I have the right. Your husband going to give you blood? They have the right to give you blood? You. Hotline. What's going on right now? We need an answer. That patient's right to die. Understand. Live, she's going to be bad. But right to die if she die and now she has somebody else's blood in her. Not what she. Tricky. Can she sue you for saving her? Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. Against the I want. Practicing. As the express or oral. I touch you? Quite common. Get a vaccine. Fine. Yep. Uh-huh. I need to know what you're putting in. Risks and alternative.
Happens.
No.
No.
But if you stick
Get
your
the
arm out,
shot.
is that- Then,
Kind of
But-
accepting.
but then, wait a minute, I just got that vaccine. Quite common, isn't it? emergency.
Here we also kind of do like a kind of a drive-through.
Drive-through?
Yeah.
On my window.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
No way. No. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Really? No form?
Sure.
From me? Just because. I want you to know what's in that Vic.
Yeah.
Can't
Yeah.
choose it.
Because
Okay.
you
Implied. That's implied consent. That is what an implied consent. Emergency, get consent later, right? Or I guess if you stick out your arm and say, go for it, no? Competent adult. Competent adult is the age of majority. You're competent. Competency is a medical judgment. I have to say, I have hopefully not competent. Not competent. House and family is combat.
The case of people who are injected or given medicine against their will, psychological problem. Prove. How do you prove? How does the doctor time between deciding that doctor you have to doctor?
Doctor said, I'm seeking care. I'm going to the doctor and say, I need care. So, and the doctor and to tell me what care. I'm competent. I'm a minor. I'm still going because if I am not competent, I should not unless emergency decision, get that care unless you have some competency, have somebody in my shoes. Not that you have to see or
Thank
going
you.
to, or it's assault battery. May consent minor women for their pregnancy, consent for a minor, parents, power of attorney, all these people. Consent for an designated surrogate, guardian, spouse, adult child, parent, adult relative, friend. All those people. Fine. They're going to consent, get to know your income and or just elements of prognosis. Risks and consequences. Better. Going to happen if I likely. How long is it going to take? That's just so. I recently, I was supposed to be here earlier and couldn't. I recently had surgery, big surgery on my hip, and I went in out my. Everything's great. 15 of recovery. I'm fine. And then I went to the foot doctor and probably I have out. Oh, maybe I need new running shoes. Tips. I'm all good. All good. And he says, "Put high from your belly button to measure. He goes, 1 foot is 1 leg is by half a centimeter, right? Now my name is Eileen. Okay. I really do lean. I am a medicine is not an exact science. I am not going to sue my physician as bone change. For an equal, still a half centimeter, right? And you that when you absolutely much health. Yeah, it was not on the informed consent form that 1 leg may. And my mother, my lovely 92-year-old mother, made a joke, and she goes, "My time, they would have 1 leg shorter than the other when they did that." I'm like, "Of course, because 32, mom." But it doesn't happen these days, mom. It did, and I'm never going to tell her she was right. But yes, 1 leg this much shorter. And I put a little yes, and are they going to make? But I will live like this. But I will have. They should have told me. Would I have stopped the surgery? That's the other part. Would it stop me from having the surgery knowing it? That's also part. That's also part of malpractice. If I sue, they're going to ask me that. Would it have stopped you? Where? We've capped that. It's called tort reform. Good, if you can prove it. If you can prove that if I had known, I'd not have had the surgery. It's hard to prove after I've had the surgery. My mind has changed. If I had a lot of, I would have had the surgery regardless. I would have had the surgery regardless. Not malpractice because I haven't. We're gonna the next slides. We're gonna. So very hard to prove if I would order yes to the surgery had I known. Informed consent a touchstone doctor-patient symbolic of the larger issue of individual self-determination. Historical roots of consent requirement lie in the battery. Liability is imposed has long been recognized the basic right not to be. This right of bodily purity is highly regarded that battery not alleged harm unpermitted just because it touched you. Battery. Law, battery claim brought when not the consent. Most cases involving consent deal with the informed consent. Whether the provider had today such cases started and negligence battery. Battery, but intentional tort versus unintentional. Negligent is causation. Tort law is informed consent allows patient medical decision. Want it to be outlawed. I want you to have peer review that is judging the adequacy of informed consent. Most doctor patient patient would do. This patient would have wanted to. Oh my God! All of this to get an injection. We stick our arm out. Okay, that's a lot, and it happens. Right, you're in wherever you are. Find it. Boom. It may also be when you go into a hospital. Rights. On every. Uh-huh. Rights. Or you, right. All right, it's adopted by the American 72 says the right to be medical significant proposed procedure without any practices. That is your right. You have to know, get the right to know what, like the current, that disclosure of all risks can't be required. Like I cannot every single thing that happen to you. Your body is not my body. Only risks of which the physician knew, should have known, should be. Slight. Others are. That one straight. Patient would already be aware of them. Necessary. In there, but that one gives me pause. Courts have generally recognized risks that are too remote. That's never going to happen. 1 in a million happens. You have to put it not to be. Everybody knows you're. Everybody knows that if you. Right, like not going to happen. In these polls, what must. How much do I need to know? Up here for a quick break, and we'll go through med mal, okay? All right.